It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hi, I'm Courtney Forrest.
I'm Tony Schumacher.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan.
This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. I'm Joe Castello, and we've got a great show for you. When was the last time I said, the show that's going to be on, it's not going to be that great? You're not really going to like it, folks. It's not going to be very good. Of course, never. But I think they're all pretty good, right? This one in particular, as we have got a fresh, young face of NHRA Drag Racing, Jordan Vandergriff, going to be on the show. We're going to get to know Jordan. It will be Jordan's first time on WFO Radio, but Jordan has been in the broadcast booth at NHRA races with me at least once. He and Krista Baldwin came up, and we had a good time during the alcohol ranks, and he's a good kid, and I can't wait to see him out on track. You're going to get to know him on this show. Also on this show, we talked a little bit about the Gatornationals, right? The Gatornationals kind of overshadowing the start of everything here in the 2019 season. The Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals, the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. And just get ready, everybody, because I'm going to say it is my 40th straight Gatornationals like thousands of times. Just try to look past it. It's a big stat for me. I'm super excited about it. This is like me and my dad in our race, and the whole reason you're even hearing me, the whole reason that I bracket raced is because of going to the Gatornationals for the first time in 1980. This is my thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the fact that they've invested in the track. We had Ned Walliser, the vice president of competition for the NHRA, on last week. If you didn't hear that interview, you really missed out, because he laid it all out there, like why and how and what they're doing and all of these things. All of these things. You can go back into the archive after you hear this show. By no means do I expect you to stop this one to go to that one. But after this one is over, just let the app play, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. But on this week's show, we're going to follow up on the storyline that is Class Eliminations at the Baby Gators. Now, first of all, many people don't even understand what the Baby Gators is. The divisional race the week prior at Gainesville Raceway. There are back-to-back race weekends at Gainesville Raceway and many races around the country. They do that to save the racers travel, and the racers will often go in a week early or stay in a week late, as is the case for the second Vegas race, Vegas, Pomona. The divisional race is after the national event. Then the racers go, and they leave their rigs, and they don't have to go. Some fly home. Some just hang in the area. But in this particular case, there's controversy. Controversy because some fans were going to the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals to see Class Eliminations. And other racers would have loved to have tried to run for the Class Eliminations trophy at the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals, couldn't get into the event. And I know if you're a fan of Nitro and you're kicking around to hear Jordan Vandergriff, some of this you may not understand it. Well, Rich Schaefer, the division director for NHRA's Southeastern Division, Division 2, is going to come on the show and do a deep dive and explain all of this. And for you Lucas Oil Series racers, maybe you've never listened to the show ever before. Hopefully, you will get the information you are looking for when Rich comes on. Why did they do this? What's the situation? Who are they trying to please? Who are they? What is the story? I can tell you, on the surface, it was done for the best possible reasons. To give the racers, as many racers as possible, not just the racers, as many racers as possible, the opportunity, the chance to walk out of there with a 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals trophy for winning Class Eliminations. And I can't think of a better reason than that. But it does make things a little challenging, like 2 weekends of racing instead of one big weekend of racing. Why? How? What's the schedule? What are they going to do? When are they going to do it? What's it going to be like? How much does it cost to go see it? Where can you see it if you're in, Yuma, Arizona, or wherever you happen to be? How will you be able to see it? You will find out all that information when Rich Schaefer comes on the show. So Lucas Oil Series racers, drag racers, you're going to get your information. Fans of the sport, Jordan Vandergriff going to be on the show, and Alan Reinhart going to be joining us from somewhere in the good old world moments from now. But right now, I want to tell you about the great sponsors who make WFO Radio possible. These people are the reason you are hearing me. These people. CatSpotLitter.com and Magic Dry. Scott Palmer, last year, coming on board. CatSpotLitter.com, Magic Dry, helping out the show, keeping us on the road. The show is, it's a labor of love, but it does. We got a great audience. If you got a cat, get CatSpot. If you got a shop or an industry, get Magic Dry to keep those spills cleaned up. Also, HusseyPerformance.net, Copperhead Gaskets. Made in America, the most accurate for any application, HusseyPerformance.net. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The Dragster Adventure is what I tell everybody about because, I like to imagine the listeners out there, who are you guys? Who is everybody out there? And I would say most of the listeners have never driven a dragster, have never gone 130 in the quarter mile, have never done any of those things. And the Dragster Adventure is designed for you. It goes around the country. It's coming somewhere close to you, and you should definitely go do it. The Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com. Check it out. Rodax CoffeeandGrills.com. Our buddy Marvin Rodak. Gourmet coffee, hot sauces, spice rub, barbecue stuff, food. Living life to its fullest, right? Eating and feeding. Marvin Rodak. CoffeeandGrills.com. Go to the website. Try the coffee. All kinds of great blends. Coffee from around the world. It is just so much better. Next level stuff. I start every day with a little Rodax coffee. And then midday. And then late afternoon. And then showtime. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Samtech.edu. Total no-brainer. I'm super excited about getting ready for the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown 8-race season. That begins, guess where? The 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals, along with Pro Modified and Pro Stock Motorcycle and all the different categories that crank up at Gainesville. Why you're not in line at the gate right now, I have no idea. Because it's months early, Joe. That's the reason. That is the reason. Motorsportsguys.com, Terry McMillan's new venture. If you need Amalie Motor Oil, speaking of which, motorsportsguys.com is a great place to get it, along with filters, parts, pieces, everything, mail order. Plus that Vegas Wind Tribute hat still available if you use the promo code WFO. Motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it. Get your parts. Get your pieces. Certainly your next Amalie Motor Oil change at motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan coming off a career year where he won the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals, plus made a bunch of other final rounds. But I know which race he would really like to win. Guess which race? Yeah, I know, you know. Everybody knows. Hangstafers, Metalworking Lubricants, and Hangstafers Laboratories. Big supporters of the Lucas Oil Series racers out there, like Matt and Zach Sackman, of course. They're on with DSR. They're on with JFR, making the shops work efficiently. And if you have got a shop, a factory, you need cooling lubricants, all of that stuff, Hangstafers is someplace you want to check it out. Go to hangstafers.com, stepping up and helping out WFO Radio, second half of 2018 and into 2019. We really appreciate them. Got to hang out with the guys out there at PRI, and certainly love, got beat up myself on the practice tree by Matt Sackman. But next time he'll be in trouble. Hangstafers, Metalworking Lubricants, and Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Start your 30-day free trial. Audible, you hear everyone advertising Audible. You're going to hear Audible from many different people. But when you hear Audible.com, don't forget /WFO Nitro, because those are our peeps. Those are our peeps, and they got all kinds of great content on there. And since you are the type of person that can, deal with listening to stuff, it's just for you. It's just for you. And those are the people that make it all possible. We'll tell you about a little more detail about them a little later on. Of course, you can check out WFOradio.com and see our sponsors. I got BigFishTools.com, does our website. Drag Racing Edge Magazine, doing a little cross-promotion in the magazine. Johnny D and that crew over there, Drag Racing Edge Magazine. A lot of people helping us out along the way to make this podcast something you want to listen to on a weekly basis. All right. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joining us from somewhere, far off spaces. Where could he be? Joining us now, as promised, from somewhere in the United States, from somewhere in the world, from somewhere in the galaxy. We don't know. We'll find out. Alan Reinhart. Alan, where are you?
Well, I'm certainly somewhere in the galaxy. I mean, come on, Joe. Intergalactic communication has not been perfected yet, so I'd have to be somewhere in the galaxy.
Yes, that's true. You sound so great, though.
What's the farthest we've ever done a report from?
The farthest we've ever done a report. You know what? I don't know. You were in the middle of a lake surrounded by water on a boat once. You've been, you've been in Seattle, which is far. Middle East?
All right. Well, I'm a little further from there. I am coming to you live from the world headquarters of Al-Anabi Performance in Doha, Qatar.
Wow. Doha, Qatar. They love drag racing there, from what I understand.
Yeah, they certainly do. And as a matter of fact, the Al-Anabi Race Shop is located on the grounds of the Qatar Racing Club, which is a spectacular drag strip. They also have a drift course. They've got, they take their racing pretty seriously over here, no question about it. It's a first-class facility all the way.
Okay, so this week on the Alan Reinhart Report on WFO Radio, I am just eager to hear as much as possible about what's going on over there, like the name of the meet and who's there and what you're seeing and what you think. And just give us the download, because I think this is super cool. I have seen, photos and certainly heard about it. I know Mike Janis went over there last year and had success. Is that the same event you are at this year?
It is. And, all of the AAP Pro Mod cars are here. It's an opportunity that they can do some test and tune stuff. They also run a 5-race circuit. So the guys get an opportunity, basically to get the entire team dialed in, but they also go out and go head-to-head with cash on the line. So, it's more to it than just a bunch of buddies hanging out and playing with their cars. But Mike Janis is here. Brandon Snyder is here. Mike Castellano is here. Todd Tutterow is here. And Richie Stevens was here, had to go home, take care of some family business, and will be coming back. But all 5 of those cars and teams are here, and they're really beating on them. This is a situation where the racetrack has a physical altitude of less than 100 feet above sea level. For the time that I've been here now, which has been 4 or 5 days, I don't believe the air has moved more than about 500 or 600 feet. It's always between about 300-400 feet corrected and 500 or 700 feet corrected. So it's a great opportunity to do an awful lot of testing. They bring over a couple of guys from NHRA to take care of the track prep and make sure that the racetrack is in good shape. They've got good safety people here. They've got, everything you need. And the guys are here testing, tuning, learning, and we will be racing again on Thursday and Friday.
Now, what about, race fans? I've seen some photographs, and I think, the facility, from what I saw, if it's what I've seen, is beautiful and amazing. But who is there watching? Give me an idea of the the behind the scenes. Of course, cars are going on the racetrack, but what else is going on?
Well, to tell you the truth, as far as that goes, I've yet to see that. The first event, the first actual race event that I will be here for, starts tomorrow. We're going to do some qualifying, and then it's Thursday and Friday is the big show. But I'm expecting, the fact that there's probably a dozen top dragster type machines here. There's 8 or 10 junior dragsters that are making runs. There's probably a solid dozen really serious bracket style motorcycles that are here, and they are here today testing and tuning, getting ready for the meet this weekend. So I'm expecting that we're going to have some folks out here spectating, and certainly looks like we're going to have a pretty good crop of race cars. And Del Worsham is here as well, literally shipped a funny car from his shop out in California over here. It is the first Nitro car that has ever been in Qatar, and he's going to be making some exhibition runs this weekend, so I expect a lot of people to come out and take a look at that.
Those of you who follow NHRA Reinhart on Twitter, you got to see that, and that is very, very cool. The passion for drag racing over there, Alan, it seems very, very strong. Certainly, we've seen it over the past couple of years with the battle between Al-Anabi and Bahrain. They've certainly invested a lot of money, keeping a lot of racers going, buying a lot of parts. What are you hearing? Where's the passion come from? Was there a genesis of the drag racing passion in the Middle East? When I'm on my Mellow Yellow tour, I talk about GIs coming back from World War II and wanting to play with cars and the hot rodding culture. What is the origin over there?
Well, I think cars are a universal language. Whether you've got a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, there are people that just like live the car life. You know, when I was in high school, I certainly didn't have a lot of money, but I did everything I could do to make my car faster. And, you know, the economy in Qatar is very strong. There are a lot of people over here that make a nice living, and they like their fast cars. Obviously, Sheikh Khalid has a huge passion for NHRA Championship drag racing. You know, you remember the Al-Anabi cars, both Top Fuel and Funny Car, won a lot of races, won championships when Alan Johnson was running that team, and really seems to have found his niche with the Pro Modified Series. And that's one thing that Pro Mods are universal. You know, we run Pro Mods in the United States. Obviously, the NHRA Tour is probably one of the biggest, not probably, is one of the biggest. But they also run Pro Mods in the Middle East by basically the same rules. They run them in Europe by basically the same rules, and they run them in Australia. You know, there are some outlaw cars and some that have screw superchargers and some different things, but Pro Mod really is a universal worldwide language, and I think that's a big part of why they're so popular over here.
And you are going to be and have been on the mic, or are you just kind of doing reconnaissance? Like, what's your responsibilities there? Like, why are you there other than to just increase your knowledge base?
Well, I'm certainly going to spend some time on the microphone. I mean, you know, I don't know that I could go to a drag race and not kind of, you know, elbow my way into the tower and say hi. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Of course, you know, they have an announcer here at the racetrack that handles the business, so I'm certainly not going to push him out of the way, but hopefully I'll have an opportunity to go up there and talk a little bit. I do think with Dell being here, that's going to give me a great opportunity, since literally nobody in the country has ever physically seen a nitro car. We're going to spend quite a bit of time, I think, doing a little educational stuff and telling people about, you know, just exactly what is a funny car, what it, you know, why it's so loud, why it's so fast, why it is unique. And, you know, if you've ever been to nitro school, when Del Worsham was my co-host, you know that he also is very well spoken about that. And so we're going to take some time and educate folks. It was interesting when we took the car up today and made just kind of a checkout run. You know, they shipped it over here from LA, and then, you know, had to put it all back together and check it all out, and took it up tonight, just did a burnout and basically a 150-foot squirt to make sure it was good before they start making the actual exhibition runs. But the number of racers that are here, and I mean, you know, everybody here basically is wearing a fire suit because this is a test and tune day. This isn't a spectator day. But that came over, were asking questions, and were very genuinely concerned and very well educated about cars, but had never seen a funny car before. So I think we're going to have even more of that as we go through the rest of the weekend. It should be an interesting experience.
Very exciting, very exciting. So what are you, 8 hours ahead of the East Coast of the United States in terms of time?
Yeah, that sounds right, because it's 10 hours from my place, which is not good when somebody sends me a text message that says, "Hey, dude, are you up for happy hour?" And it's 3 a.m. here when my phone buzzes. But, yeah, I'm 10 hours ahead of Arizona, so I guess I would be 8 hours ahead of you.
Okay, great stuff. Listen, we don't want to burn up the roaming and all that. When you get back to the good old US of A, I want to do a full debrief. I'm interested in cultural stuff. Like, what do you guys do after the races? And, you know, speaking of happy hour, like, you know, where are you doing? What are you going? Where are you seeing? All that stuff. But real quick, you know, is there anything that is like the biggest surprise so far? Like, wow, that kind of shocks me, or that's really interesting.
You know, one of the things that's been very surprising is the fact that everywhere I've been, they speak English. And I have yet to get into a situation where I was, you know, trying to point to things or trying to draw pictures or do everything. But, you know, there's a very strong English-speaking community over here. The people over here could not be nicer, could not have been more welcoming, you know, and not just to the race teams, but just me. You know, I walk in the store and somebody's, America, where are you from? And you know, sharing stories and doing that kind of stuff. But it's a wonderful country, a lot of culture, and so far, the little bit that I've been able to get out and see has been spectacular. I have absolutely nothing about it yet. It would go into the, well, gee, that wasn't very cool file. It's been just a great experience from top to bottom.
American servicemen around. I understand we have a base there, large base, and I'm wondering, is like, do you see, you know, America there around, or is it fully a Qatari experience?
No, I haven't seen a lot of that, and I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, where the base is compared to exactly where we are. Also haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of exploring, you know, between the hotel and coming to the race shop and going out to dinner with the guys and that kind of thing. But hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do some of that before it's time to pack up and head home. But the top to bottom has been a spectacular experience. From the time I stepped off the plane and the first person I bumped into said, "Sir, do you need some help? What can I do for you?" And it's just been terrific. Like I said, there's not one bad thing that I could say, put a red mark next to it. It's just been a tremendous experience so far.
I cannot wait for the full debrief. You already mentioned the big race you're going to be at begins this week. When will you be back? Can we expect a regular Reinhart report next week? Will you be back in the States?
Yeah, I actually am flying back on Sunday. Phoenix testing starts next week, so I will have to come back and be there for that. But no, and the race already started. They ran the first one 2 weeks ago. Brandon Snyder took the win there, so I guess you could say he's leading the points in the 5-race series over here so far. But there's still a long way to go, and I'm really looking forward to the first racing experience that I'm going to get to experience Thursday and Friday this week.
I cannot wait to hear all about it. All right, Alan, we'll let you go. Get back to it. Say hello to whoever may know us in WFO Radio. But you have a great time. Can't wait to hear all about it. Thank you for making the time, literally from the other side of planet Earth. I don't think you could be much farther away than this one. It's going to be tough to beat, but we'll give it a try.
All right, Joe. Always a pleasure, and look forward to talking to you when I get back next week, if not sooner.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart from Doha, Qatar. And I have learned a lot about the way drag racing is appreciated in the Middle East. And I love the fact that drag racing is appreciated in the Middle East. And I love the fact that drag racing is appreciated down under in Australia and in the UK and so many places. Very excited about that. And Alan is out there. He's at the meet. And he's going to be checking it all out. And Dell's got his funny car over there, and I think it is great. And if you follow NHRA Reinhart on Twitter, you get to see a lot of the photographs of the stuff that is going on there. Hey, I'm mentioning Australia, and I just want to, say, heads up, hello, glad you're all right to Sam Fennick at Sydney Dragway. You maybe have seen the video. Competition Plus has got a great video of it. They're, I guess, in the final round of Pro Slammer, which is like Pro Modified. And, wicked race, no shoot, down into the shutdown area. And everybody who has commented has said something like this. Every racer's worst nightmare. Not every racer, but like every race fan's worst nightmare. Down into the shutdown area. Shoots hung up. He's doing everything he can. He stops bouncing and hopping all around. Into the net. But he walked away. And that was, it was hairy. And you can see it on Competition Plus and other places. I want the folks who are down in Sydney, Cameron Foray was down there, Ashley Sanford was down there competing. I really believe that our worldwide drag racing community, we are all over the globe, but we're very small. We get the same things. We are turned on by the same things. We love the same things. We want the same things, safety for all our drivers. So that one was hairy. And I'm glad that Sam is okay. And, just a very unfortunate situation. You got to watch the video to fully comprehend what went on. But to our friends down there in Sydney, we are thinking about you guys. Wow. Great stuff. All right, we're going to keep on trucking here on WFO Radio. When we come back, it's going to be Jordan Vandergriff. Jordan is going to join us on the show. We're going to get to know Jordan, see what he's all about, what he's got prepped for the season, as we are not that far out, if you think about it, from the start of 2019, the Lucas Oil Winter Nationals. Then we'll be heading to Arizona and then coming back for the East Coast Opener. Right now, though, I want to tell you about motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan and this group, coming off their greatest career year ever, continuing to grow. Formerly AmalieStore.com, now MotorsportsGuys.com. Why? Well, it used to be that you would get your Amalie motor oil from Terry through the previous site. And what they have done is they put together some relationships with other places like K&N Air Filters, for instance, and pretty much everything you would want or need you can now get at motorsportsguys.com. And they understand that this is a business that they're building. They want to be on the radar. They want to be on your radar. They want you to think, man, I need oil, 2050, 70, 1030, 520. The pro racing oil, like professional racing oil that Terry uses in his Top Fuel dragster, that's 70 weight. You can get a little or you can get a lot at motorsportsguys.com. Why wouldn't you do it? Go to the website, bookmark the website, and be ready the next time you need something whether it be Wolf's Head Oil and Lubricants, Molly Filters, K&N Filters, All-Star Performance Racing, and high-performance parts from Motor State Distributing and Lane Automotive. What does that mean, Joe? What does that mean? All kinds of stuff is available at motorsportsguys.com. So bookmark the site, go to the website, and remember, the next time you need some stuff, go to motorsportsguys.com, and that Vegas Win Tribute hat, add it to your cart, and use the promo code WFO at checkout, and the hat will be free. The hat will be free. There you go, motorsportsguys.com, based in Elkhart, Indiana. And I know the guys in the warehouse that are fulfilling the orders, they listen to WFO from time to time. What's up, guys? Can't wait to see you out at the track. motorsportsguys.com. We'll be back with Jordan Vandergriff after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, WFO radio listeners, if you're in the northern part of the country, I know you're freezing right now. You know what would be great? A hot cup of Rodax coffee. Maybe a little hot sauce, a little spice rub for that food you're cooking in the oven. Check out RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. They've got over 40 single original coffees to choose from, plus custom blends like Bang the Blower and WFO Radio. Their coffee represents the top 5% of coffee grown throughout the world, and it's all roasted fresh per order. They've got limited edition, seasonal, and rare micro lots. They've got exotics. Go to RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com or just pick up the phone, 817-924-6821. Keep your ear out for those WFO holiday packs. Depends on the holiday what the deal is, but Marvin is wheeling and he is dealing. 817-924-6821 for RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the block, head, and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine. Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets. You got to call David directly. 724-318-8292. Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro here on WFO Radio. You know, I have a little bit of a quandary, a problem, a mystery, like a challenge. Because the show has been called WFO Radio for a long time, since we were on satellite radio, WFO Radio, right? Except we're not on the radio anymore. And there have been times that I've thought, like, man, you know, we are a podcast. Maybe we should call it the WFO Podcast. And I do call it WFO Podcast all the time, WFO Podcast, because we've been using WFO Podcast now for several years. WFO Podcast, WFO Radio Podcast. Does everybody know and get that this is a podcast? You guys understand? Like when you're telling your friends? We have thought about approaching radio stations to put this show on there. And why? Why is the point that they're going to put it on? No, just download the podcast, man. Just download the podcast. Skip right over the radio. Skip right through those people. You don't need them anymore. WFO is in your pocket. It's in your dad's pocket. It's in your mom's pocket. It's in your brother's pocket. It's in your son's pocket. On their mobile device. Just go to the podcast app that is on every iOS phone and probably on Android phones and search WFO Radio or NHRA Nitro Podcast or Joe Castello, and you're finding the show just like that. And now you're listening and you're subscribed and you're never missing a show like Ned Walliser. You're going to be able to go back and listen in the WFO archive, but it would be right there on your phone already. Then again, if you want to be super advanced, you could just download the WFO Radio mobile application for iPhone and Android and be done with all of this. And then when we send out those push notifications, hopefully you're getting them, which we are tuning that up as well. Had a little trouble with that at the end of last year, and now I've been doing a lot of tweeting and a lot of Facebooking and all that to keep the audience rolling. But 2019, bigger and better than ever, and that's why we have great sponsors like Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants. Dr. Hangstifer, years and years ago, one of those 20th century success stories when everything was new, right? 1937 established the company. If you think about that, those were tough times. His family continues to uphold the vision, highest quality products available. They're trying to maximize your performance in the shop. And to do it, they manufacture highly refined petroleum, synthetic, and vegetable-based products. Whatever your needs, they have available the best products for your metalworking processes. Now, what does that mean? Well, we think about it in terms of CNC machines. You're working in a shop. You're building, you're cutting, you're making. They want to make you more efficient. But this is also true for larger factories, like larger factories. They can help you as well. They were at several trade shows this past year. They've got over 100 affiliates throughout the world. It's a global network that's integrated with their research, development, and manufacturing facilities to offer the best service available. Simple as that. Go to hangstifers.com. This is the brand that is used by DSR and JFR, making them quicker, more reliable, more efficient, lowering production costs, reducing waste, improving surface quality, extending tool life, all of these things. Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants. That's Hangstifer's Laboratories. Very happy to have them on board supporting WFO Radio. All right, time to get to know one of the fresh young faces of NHRA Drag Racing. Joining us now will be driving top fuel for Bob Vandergriff Racing in 2019 on the NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series. Jordan Vandergriff joins us now. Jordan, welcome to WFO Radio for the first time. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you, Joe? Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm thrilled. Now, we have shared a broadcast booth once before in the past. You and Krista Baldwin came upstairs, and we kind of hung out together and called a little racing action. I think it was during the Top Alcohol Dragster category, if memory serves me correctly. But this is the first time you've been on the WFO podcast, so thank you for coming on. And this is big news. You're going Top Fuel Racing. How excited are you?
I'm super excited. I can't wait to get testing started out in Phoenix here in a few days, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I'm ready to go.
All right, let's get into that. I want to do like a general background questionnaire. So first of all, some people, and even me, I had misidentified you as Bob's kid once early on. You're actually Bob's nephew.
I am Bob's nephew. Yes, my Uncle Bob is my father's older brother. My father is Kevin Vandergriff, so shout out Kevin Vandergriff.
Kevin Vandergriff. What's up, Kevin? Good job with Jordan. Now, your drag racing background, were you, interested and into drag racing from the outset as a kid coming up? Your uncle has been involved in the sport heavily. What about your dad? Give me some of those threads to how drag racing was loved, perceived, from your side of the family.
Yeah, of course. So growing up with my dad first, to be honest, I mean, he helps run Headman Headers, a company that my grandfather owns as well. So growing up, we were introduced to cars and racing at a young age, obviously with my uncle racing ever since I was born. So I grew up going to the racetrack and hanging out in the pits and with my uncle and learning and taking in the sights and the smells and the feels, and there's nothing quite like it, and I knew that from a young age. And one of my favorite things to do was go to the racetrack and watch my uncle run and hang out with him. And so, growing up, it was just a staple of my life, and I can't imagine it not being in my life.
So you are an NHRA, some say like track rats, kids that grew up at the racetrack.
Yeah, of course. I would go to Pomona and Sonoma. I look forward to Sonoma every year too because I'm from California originally, so. Sonoma was my favorite race as a kid because we take a family trip up north, and that track is beautiful, and yeah, I loved it.
That is awesome. Now, that is great, a great background. Where were you when your Uncle Bob ran backwards from the finish line back to the starting line? Like, do you remember that? Was that like a seminal moment? Did you think he was nuts for doing it?
I do remember that. I was a kid, and my dad had told me that, Uncle Bob won, and obviously I was ecstatic, and I didn't see the video right away, but when I saw the video, I thought, wow, just pure elation coming out of my uncle. I mean, that was a move that was done from pure, just joy and happiness. And it was pretty cool for me to see. And I think it was cool for the fans too. I mean, that's something he's remembered by.
That is, and there are so few racers that have things like that aren't necessarily directly connected to driving, things that they do. That's something that your uncle, and maybe to his detriment now, because that's his thing, but that's something he's known for.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, nobody else has done it, so he's one of a kind for sure. There
you go. Now, what about driving? Like, when did you start thinking, man, I want to get in one of these things? Did you do junior dragsters? Did you, bracket race? Have you, give me some of your track experience prior to running an A-Fuel dragster, obviously, last year.
Well, to tell you the truth, growing up, I never did junior dragsters. My parents tried to keep me out of it for some reason, I guess. I think my mother was scared that this would eventually happen, but it happened anyways. So
sorry, Mom.
Yeah, my mom, she's coming around. She's coming around. So I grew up playing a lot of team sports. I played baseball growing up all the way through high school. So my first introduction to really racing was obviously watching my uncle race. But then at some point, a few years ago, I went to Frank Holly's and got my Super Comp license and learned a lot from Frank. He's obviously one of the legends of the sport. So it started there, and then I graduated up to the Nitro University and Anthony DeSeo Racing with Krista Baldwin and got that A-Fuel license and ran A-Fuel last year. So really, I mean, I'm still sort of a newcomer, which is kind of crazy to me, but I'm ready for this opportunity ahead.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that, because first of all, the sport needs it. Like, the sport needs young, fresh faces with enthusiasm, and you fit the bill perfectly. And I've seen you out there, working on the car, like doing everything you got to do to learn as much as you possibly can. I want to get into that, but let's keep going, because your uncle is known as, he's an athletic guy. He's an athlete. He can play golf. He can drive golf ball very well. When we had the big NHRA versus NASCAR softball game that he helped put together for charity, he was one of the best athletes on the field. You talked about playing baseball. So to me, there are parallels. Even though driving, you're seated in the car, there are many aspects that you can pull from the competitive past that you've had.
Of course, yeah. Uncle Bob is very athletic. He is a very good golfer. He's actually very good at all sports. So growing up, I used to hear stories of him back in high school. He was the all-star, the all state basketball player, and my dad's friends would tell me stories about him and how he did this and that. And I look up to him a lot. I try to emulate him. I mean, why not? He's really done everything you can think of, and he's a good role model to look after.
That is great stuff. All right, now jumping behind the wheel of an A-Fuel car. You mentioned Frank Hawley. Frank and the Drag Racing School have been a big sponsor of WFO for a long time, and we're always telling people to go do that dragster adventure, because that will give them the taste. 100%. That'll give them the taste.
Yep. It's a blast, and Frank is great, and yes, I highly recommend it.
And it set you forth on this career, but there's a big difference in a Super Comp car and an A-Fuel car. I love speaking with young racers who can, use their enthusiasm to explain to those of us who don't get that opportunity what it is like to drop the hammer on something with 4,000 horsepower, and then we'll move up to Top Fuel. So, tell me about that experience going through the Nitro University with Anthony and like gaining that experience.
Yeah, so we went to Vegas to make my first few hits with Anthony, and I had studied. He gave me a sheet. I had studied the procedures, and you really don't know what to expect. You just have to prepare yourself and be ready for the hit, and you go out and do everything right. You burn out, back up, and focus on what you're doing. But nothing will prepare you for when you whack the throttle and that thing takes off, because there's really nothing else like it. I mean, just like Top Fuel cars, quickest accelerating cars on the planet. So there's really nothing like it. Nothing can prepare you for it. All I know is that things were whizzing by pretty quick.
Well, I can imagine. And that brings us to end of last year, big announcement that you're going to be running a schedule. And if I recall correctly, it's like 19 races. How many races do you have like locked in for the 2019 season?
So 19, I wish. It's not 19. Right now we have 20 locked, or not 20, sorry. There you go. I wish it was 22. But no, we have 12 locked in right now.
12 races locked in.
Yep, we're looking at 12 right now. And, and we're going to take one race at a time and see if we can't add on to that. I mean, it could very well end up being 16 to 20 if the money comes through.
Well, that's what we're talking about, and you actually had some big sponsor announcements with DA Lubricants, Pengrade coming on, and a very cool announcement. Like, you guys went out to their, I want to say the word factory, but mothership, wherever that there is their base of operations. Kind of cool bringing Pengrade into the sport of drag racing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we went out and headed out to their headquarters to do this big unveil, great honor to have DA Lubricant Company and Pengrade High Performance Oil come on board with us, and it's really cool to bring them into the sport, and I think this partnership was going to last for many years to come.
That is cool. You not only have to get used to driving the car and all of those responsibilities, but now you're representing a big sponsor. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, to be honest, it is. I mean, I grew up watching my uncle, with UPS and C&J, and now it's crazy to me because I do represent these companies, and I want to put my best face forward and represent them to the best of my ability.
I remember watching the Jersey's car, like way back in the day. That was a great car. Uncle, he's so good at
Jersey's car.
He's so good at bringing in this particular sponsor, DA Lubricants and Pengrade Oil. That's not necessarily non-endemic, meaning not related to automotive. It is, but he's very good at bringing in, like when UPS was on board. That was very good for the sport. He's got a knack for that, not so much with Pengrade, but with Tim Brown. That was very exciting to see Tim at the track, and I wondered, is Bob going to be able to I don't want to use the word convince, but I guess that's ultimately what happens, to get Tim Brown to be out and part of our drag racing community on a more regular basis, and it happened.
Yeah. So Tim Brown, Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, is on board with us as well with his company, 81 Logistics Group. And, it's crazy to me, too. I mean, this guy has accomplished so much and one of the greatest football players of all time, and he's taken an interest in our sport, which is great for our sport and what we need. Tim Brown, it was an honor to meet him, and it's an honor to do business with him this year.
Now, is that his full name, Tim Brown, Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner? Like, is that said every time we mention Tim? Just because I want to know.
It's funny you mentioned that because I thought the same thing. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you have to. Yeah, that's his full name. It's added on to his name. It has to go.
It has to go. It makes sense. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to do it. So I just want to get it right. Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner. Got it. Now, all right. Have you made runs in the Top Fuel car yet?
Yes. So I made 3 runs in the Top Fuel car in Vegas after the Vegas race in was it October this last year. So made 3, kind of got my feet wet. Still need to finish my license. We're going to go to Phoenix here at the Phoenix test next week and finish up my license there. And then we should be good for the year.
All right. Tell me about those 3 runs and the impression and the elevation from A Fuel, which we know is super quick and fast and a beast that is beyond most drivers' abilities, to what you experienced in those 3 runs. Do your best to explain.
Yeah, so in the alcohol dragster, it's like I said before, it's quick and it'll get your attention and it's no joke. But when you go up to the Top Fuel level and you whack a throttle on one of those, it's I'm gonna say it's almost the same, but it's a little more violent. I'd say it's a little more violent. It sticks you back in the seat a little bit more, and it gets going just like way quicker than the alcohol car does. So it was a good experience. It was good for me to get a few little whacks on it and get used to it and kind of have something to think about and in preparation for my next runs. So yeah, it was great. It was fun. I can't wait to do it again.
Very exciting for you, and it's so great for the sport. And recently it has been announced that you will have a couple of, rotating teammates, Sean Reed, Josh Hart, joining Team BVR, and that's the Twitter handle, by the way, if you guys don't follow Bob Vandergriff Racing. And Jordan is active on Twitter as well, JT Vandergriff. But kind of cool that you've got those guys coming in. Josh, who is an ace in the alcohol ranks, and I don't know if you have any side-by-side runs against Josh. Sean Reed, drag boats, so there's like a kind of a lot of experience among the drivers in different aspects of racing.
Yes, super excited to have Sean and Josh come on board. I do have a head-to-head record against Josh. He beat me twice.
Oh,
so that's something that he can hang over my head a bit. But he was a great competitor. He was fun to. He's a really super nice guy. He was fun to race last year, and that top alcohol class is so stout with talent and good cars and he was just another one of those good cars. So. We're glad to bring him in. I know what he's capable of for sure, and we're looking forward to that. And then Sean, he's another super nice guy. A lot of experience, obviously, driving the last few years, and we're looking to get some wins with those guys too.
Yes, well, and the team proved last year that although the schedule may be limited, the ability to go out and compete, contend, take win lights, and win races is as good as anybody.
Yeah. I mean, last year was a dream year for us. We went out and competed at every race. We didn't lose the first round last year. We went to 11 races. We went 11-0 in the first round. So that's kind of unheard of for us. So let alone anybody. So we're looking to build on that next year, especially with these two cars. And obviously, I want to win. So I want to win some races this year, and we're going to go out and try to do that.
That's a stat worth repeating. 11-0 in first rounds last year with Blake. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Now, as far as crew chief goes, Ron Douglas, who has got great experience, and I don't know, my impression of Ron is that he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to go out there and get after it and prove something. And Joe Barlam coming over, and I know Joe was with your Uncle Bob for a lot of their success, and for Joe to go back, leaving DSR, that tells me something about the long term for this combination.
Yes. We're we run a good organization over here, and we have fun, and we obviously compete, and we're a good team, and everybody loves my Uncle Bob, So, Ron has a chip on his shoulder for sure, and it kind of translates to the rest of the team because we all do. I mean, we're a part-time team coming out trying to hang with these guys like DSR and JFR and these big-time operations. So we all have a chip on our shoulder, and Ron's kind of our leader. And then bringing Joe back, I mean, Joe is amazing. I mean, he is a great guy and a great crew chief, super smart, and pairing him with Ron again, I mean, the sky's the limit for this year.
Yeah, I like Joe a whole lot, and not because I'm obligated to like all people named Joe, although more often than not, they are good people, just saying. But it's going to be very interesting to watch you go through that. Now, all right, let's we talked about 12 races, but you're definitely looking for more. I definitely want more. Where do you have this thing planned on starting? Pomona?
Right now, no, not Pomona. Right now, the original plan is to start at the Gatornationals at the 50th. We're going to go to Phoenix Test. There's a possibility that my debut could be sooner than that, so sooner than the Gatornationals. So I'm looking forward to that. Just stay tuned. I'm sure we'll announce something if that's the case. And regardless of where it's at, I'll be ready, and we'll go out there and try to win the race.
Yes, exactly. And, not to pry information out of you, because I would never do that. We just wait for you guys to announce. That's our thing here on WFO. But the car's going to be in Phoenix, Jordan. Just leave it there.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
There you go. All right, young athletes who come into sports of all kinds have challenges in finding their way. Like, some people come in like a big splash. They're brash. They're talking smack. They're wanting to let the world know that they're there. They're on Twitter. They're on Facebook. They're making a name for themselves. Others, the exact opposite. Silent, maybe even too silent, not wanting to make waves, not wanting to rock the boat, wanting to let their abilities speak for themselves. Where do you consider yourself? Where would you like to be if you could, carve it out for yourself?
Well, you know, I don't know. I kind of live my life with a quiet confidence. At least I try to. So I know I have faith in my abilities, and I know that I want my abilities to speak for themselves. But at the same time, I am kind of outgoing, and I like to talk. So, you know, I just want to be myself, really. You know, I want to go out there and you know, not have to worry about too much and just be myself, have fun, and say what's on my mind, and really that's really what I want to do this year.
That is great. Well, that's what everybody wants. That's what we need. And so many years ago, people were talking about like the corporate nature of so many drivers, and now we've got we've got Steve Torrance and J.R. Todd as our two champions, two guys that they say whatever's on their mind. Yeah,
I love both of those guys. JR actually drove for the BBR for a little bit back in the day, and yeah, Steve, I idolize Steve. Obviously, he's the champ. He's what you want to be in the sport right now, and I love the way he goes about things. And you know, he just has, you know, he wants it all, and he'll let you know it.
That is cool. All right, let's get to know you a little bit more here, and I appreciate you coming on WFO Radio. So, favorite sport other than drag racing?
Baseball. Grew up playing baseball. It has a little piece of my heart for sure.
What team is your favorite baseball team?
I am a big Los Angeles Angels fan. Go Mike Trout. Love the Angels. They're my team. Will forever be my team.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah, Trout. Well, you know, it's easy to like him. He's like the best right now. How amazing is that guy?
Yeah.
What position did you play when you played?
I was an infielder, actually. I played shortstop growing up, and shortstop, second base toward the end of my high school career. So, I was always a middle infielder, I'd say.
That's great. Great position. A lot of action there. All right. Other than sports, what other things are you into? Do you, are you a movie guy? Are you a TV show guy? Do you like to cook? What is your, like in a general week, what are things that you like to do for entertainment?
Well, to tell you the truth, I am a sports guy through and through, to be honest. So when I'm at home, taking a break, relaxing, I'll watch any sports game that's on, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, whatever's on. I'll be watching that, and then other than that, I'll I try to stay fit. I got to catch up to my Uncle Bob. You know, he's quite the example. So I'm trying to catch up to him. I'll go work out almost every day. So that's really all I got. I live out here in Indiana now, working at the shop. So that's a typical day for me.
How about that transition from California to Indiana? In January.
The weather is the biggest difference. I'm here, there's snow on the ground out here right now, and I'd never seen snow growing up until I was 16 years old when I went to the mountains, So it's been quite the transition for sure, but I enjoy it. I enjoy coming to work every day with Ron and Joe and all the guys. I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
That is awesome. All right, let me double back to your athleticism and athletics. You're from California. There's a California team going to the Super Bowl. What was your opinion of the pass interference no call in the championship game?
Well, I am a Rams fan, too.
I figured.
Rams fan. Big Todd Gurley fan. He's my guy. Love Todd Gurley. But my opinion on that call, it was definitely pass interference. It was a missed call. But, hey, I will take it, and we're going straight to the Super Bowl.
There you go. Well, that's all there is. It is, boy, there are some people that are upset down there in the Bayou, though. Bayou country. Not happy.
I understand. I'm sorry. I saw the call. I saw it with my eyes. He did get there early, but as a Rams fan, I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, right. Hey, the breaks, right? Those are the breaks. The breaks happen.
Yep.
They happen to everybody. When Derek Jeter hit that home run that the kid reached over and grabbed and pulled it over, and it was a home run, and everyone was like, hey, that's a fan interference. Those are the breaks. That's where that statement comes from.
It is. Yeah.
The breaks, though, in drag racing, we have a very pure sport. We don't have that happen too often.
No. You have to earn it. You have to earn every win. You have to earn every round. And it's quite different.
So we got fans out there who listen to WFO Radio and our podcast every week, and, wondering like, hey, man, maybe I could root for this kid. They're looking for someone new and fresh, and they're tired of, the same names. And not that the same names are bad, by the way. I love the same names. They're the people who built the sport. But now you're going to be in there trying to help grow the sport as well. What do you want them to know about you, Jordan? Like when they walk away from this interview and they think, this kid, is there anything in particular that you want them to know when they see you in person at whatever national event they're going to?
See, I would just want them to know that, the new generation's coming in. It's our time to take over the sport, and I'm ready to assist any way I can. And I think that I'm going to have fun doing it. I want the fans to have fun doing it. I want the fans, any fan who wants to come say hi. I'll be more than happy to talk to you at the ropes. And I'm just looking forward to this new era of drag racing that I think we're going to embark on here pretty soon.
I'm excited to hear you position it that way, because I think it needs to be spoken about that way. Like, hey, we've got this new group of young faces that hopefully, Jordan, you can bring a new group of young fans. And you seem to be pretty interactive on the Twitter and other social media, and eager to do that. Can you do that? Like, can you help bring in a new generation of young people? A lot of people are saying, kids don't like cars, or kids don't want to look up from their devices, or kids blah, 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 blah. What say you about that?
Yeah, of course I think I could do that. I mean, I think I have a way, almost bridge that gap. I could bridge that gap instead of two generations being out of sync. I think I can bridge the younger generation with the older one. And I think that my personality and attitude toward everything will be able to, it's just something new. And I think the kids are getting interested into cars these days. And I see that the style these days, everybody wants to wear racing clothes, like old NASCAR jackets or old NHRA jackets. I see it all the time now in the kids, from 15 to 20 years old, they're all wearing it. So I think there is potential to bridge that gap, and I'm going to try my best to do it.
That is great. Jordan, thank you for coming on WFO Radio. I really appreciate it. Your first appearance, I know it won't be your last. Our thing is that the drivers win their way on the show. And if you don't know, that's kind of our thing. So if you win, being on to debrief following the victory is just part of the business. And I am looking forward to that moment whenever it happens, judging by your team and the people you've got around you. It may happen this year. I'm certainly hoping the best for you. Thank you for coming on our show and, submitting to the questions. You did a great job.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jordan. Jordan Vandergriff with us here on WFO Radio. Watched him working on the crew in 2018, was out at many races whenever they were at the track, and, seems like a great young kid, and I like what he just said. Like, the next generation is coming, and he's part of it, and we're here, and we want to make our way, but also have the greatest of respect for everything that has happened, but now want to be involved. And I think it's great. And where was it? I was at the Auto Club Finals, and I'm standing on the starting line. I'm pretty sure it was the Auto Club Finals. And wherever it was, I guess the last race from Vandergriff, came up and just told me an ET. It's going to go this, 73, whatever it was. And bang, right up on the board. And I thought that was cool. Number one, I appreciated the fact that he wanted me to know what he thought it was going to go. That was number one. He doesn't have to even think about what I think about it's going to go. But he did. He put it in my ear, and it went it. And I thought, yeah, these guys are good. And Ron Douglas, he's one of those characters where he's totally in the zone. He's got an intensity about him. I just get the impression that every time he goes out there, he's trying to prove something. He's making a statement. And that's what we need. And so Jordan's going to be out there behind the wheel. And I really hope that they can get him on the track as soon as possible. Of course, it has to do with licensing and getting everything, nailed down. But thanks to Jordan for coming on the show. And the fact that Tim Brown, Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, may be at some races and certainly supporting the team, I think that is great as well. Thanks to Jordan for coming on the show. And fans of Jordan, subscribe to WFO Radio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. So when he wins his first race, you won't miss it. Yeah, exactly. Now, when we come back, it's going to be Rich Schaefer, But first, I want to tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Since Jordan brought it up, I'm going to double down on what Jordan had to say. Where does he go? Where does everybody go? What's the point? Frank Hawley is a legendary driver known for his abilities behind the wheel, but more importantly, for what's inside his mind, the mental side of driving. I remember going to, I guess it was 1982 or 83 Gatornationals, and there it was, the legendary Chi-Town Hustler in the back of that truck that had been around the world 1 million miles, all of that. And thinking, Coyle and Minnick, and just thinking like, wow. And I didn't really know what to wow about. Like my dad explained, like match racing, and they're going to run the tour and the whole thing. And to think that evolved to Frank Hawley going on and winning championships and, ultimately, starting the drag racing school and driving for Darrell Gwynn and just trying to put his entire bio into 30 seconds. Bottom line is you want to hang out with this guy for a day and play with dragsters. And that's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com, check out the booking dates, see when they're coming near you, and work it out. All right? Everybody is talking about how 2019 is the year that they're going to do something new and fresh and exciting. 866-480-7223. That's the number. 866-480-7223. Where do you go when you want to learn from the best? Frank Hawley's. Where do you want to go when you want to have a great time? Frank Hawley's. They do licensing courses, but to me, if you're a WFO radio listener, the Dragster Adventure is where you need to start. And I have heard over this offseason, several of our listeners already say, like, we're going this year, so you should go too. Wow, look at that. Gainesville Raceway, March 29th. How many seats left? Just 3 seats left. You could be one of the first people to race on Gainesville Raceway. Think about that right after the rubber from the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals has been laid down. You'll be out there on track, but only 3 of you in this audience right now hearing my voice will have that opportunity. Who is it going to be? Now, what's it cost? $399. That's the price. Is that a lot? Is it a little? Let me tell you. That's a really nice steak dinner for 4. Or you could just cut out your friends and go drive a dragster. No brainer. 866-480-7223. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. When we come back, we're going to check in. All you Lucas Oil Series racers, this is what you've been waiting for. You're going to get all the information I can possibly extract from Rich Schaefer, Division II Director. Love hearing from the DDs, Division Directors. And this one, big news, Baby Gators, Class Eliminations, Gatornationals. This is the news dump. Here it comes after this.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website at motorsportsguys.com. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all, but most importantly, oil, Amalie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check him out, motorsportsguys.com.
Android and iPhone users, download the WFO Radio app. It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market, search WFO Radio, and download it now.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com, order it today. All natural product, made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan, cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back, everybody. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro podcast. We encourage you to click subscribe if you are a Lucas Oil Series racer and you tow from place to place and you're looking to kill some downtime. I recommend this podcast. I recommend. There will be times over the course of the season where you will get good and vital information on this. Lucas Oil Series winners on the show on a pretty regular basis. We speak with a lot of people about a lot of things. I think you will find it entertaining. I certainly believe so. Click subscribe. Try it through, let's call it, October, and then we'll reconvene. We'll go back and we'll see what you thought, right? Click subscribe, WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. I think you will like it. Rich Schaefer, seconds away. Right now, though, I want to tell you about Marvin Rodak and Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. How many of you drink coffee or eat barbecue? All right, that means everybody. Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak is a big-time drag racing fan and sponsor of WFO Radio. Also a sponsor of Funny Car Chaos in Texas, heavily involved with many different things. He loves the sport of NHRA drag racing. But he also loves gourmet coffee. He roasts his own coffee, and he's got connections with farms and plantations all around the world and gets the rarest and best of coffees. He's got over 40 coffees to choose from, including signature blends that he puts together, like Funny Car Chaos is one that makes a great espresso. It's amazing. Go to the website, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, or give him a call. Every week on the show, we're talking about Marvin because he's not only a great guy, but he is supplying many of our listeners coffee in the morning, hot sauces, spice rubs for the grilling. It's all great stuff. 817-924-6821. That's 817-924-6821. Go to the website, bounce around, check out the tips and recipes for grilling. Maybe Marvin will give you the super secret to grilling a steak the best you've ever had. He's got that kind of stuff going on. He's got fans in the pit area. Let me tell you, because of this next level stuff, it's next level stuff. What can I tell you? I'm doing a radio spot, and I'm trying to convince you how great the coffee is. You got to just try it. 817-924-6821. Got any analogies about that? Something that you can just explain to people over and over again, and you're telling them, and they're just like, man, you got to see it. Kind of like NHRA Drag Racing in person, right? Am I comparing Rodak's Coffee to NHRA Drag Racing directly? Yes. 817-924-6821. Give it a try. You will absolutely love Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. All right, joining us now, he is your friendly NHRA Southeastern Division Director, D2, baby, Rich Schaefer, joining us back here on WFO. You're friendly, right?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I'd say there's a few racers that will disagree with that, and my wife.
But other than that, friendly guy. Now, the Baby Gators / Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. This was news that broke last week and a couple weeks back, and I've seen a lot of feedback that is all over the place. Some is pro, some is con. Wow, the racers, they get a great opportunity to go out there and win the Gatornationals. Oh, the fans are going to have to show up early. I don't know. What's the story? So I wanted to invite you on so we can kind of discuss all the angles and hash all of this out, because this was done for a reason. So let's explain, first of all, what's going on with Class Eliminations, knowing that many of our listeners maybe have never even seen Class Eliminations. They're Nitro fans. So what's going on, Rich?
Well, Class Eliminations is part of the heritage of NHRA. When you have two Camaros, same weight, same horsepower going down the track, it's heads up. Who gets there first gets the trophy. That's the way drag racing was meant to be. And class is actually one of the funnest parts of my job at a national event is getting, well, except for doing the ladders, but actually watching the cars go down the track. That's one of the most exciting parts of the weekend for me. And, with the Gators, the Gators have gotten so big, and with this being the 50th, there's going to be a lot of marketing activity that needs to be done. We got this Legends race going on with all these icons coming into race. We didn't want to see, because of schedule constraints, it get pushed off to the side of class because it's such an important deal. We want to make sure we do it right and can devote some time to it because it's a big part of it for these stock superstockers that come down. And when you look at the geography of the facility, look, the haulers have gotten bigger. We don't have as much room as we used to have to put all these cars in here. So that's part of the reason the quotas are tighter than they used to be. Is there's just physically not room to put everybody in. And we know with it being the 50th that more people should have a chance to run for that 50th anniversary Gator Nationals Class Eliminations Wally. And we kind of thought that the Baby Gators and the Gator Nationals have kind of become one big event. It's almost like a mini U.S. Nationals. So we thought it was the best thing for the stock superstock guys to give everybody a chance to come and run for it, that if we moved it to the Baby Gators anyway, since the majority of the guys that run in the Gator Nationals are there the week early anyways. So we can try to put it on the schedule where we do it appropriately. We don't have to move it around for the television schedule or any other activities that are going on. We want to put emphasis back on class eliminations, and just doing it 7 days earlier was the best way we could figure out to open up the doors to let more people be a part of it.
Wow. All right,
so that's the plan.
Let me pause you right there to bring everybody along, because I would hope that many of our Lucas Oil Series racers are listening to this to kind of dispatch with any of the doubt that they may have, or maybe confusion or misinformation as to what's going on. But you had to balance now two different groups here, because there are race fans that come in on Thursday for the Hardcore Thursday, and we've been there together the past several years, and I'll call it, I'm going to pick a number, I'm going to call it 2,000 people, right? The diehards, the ones that get there, they're there to see class eliminations, man. And so maybe they're going to have to extend or do another trip or come early. Maybe they're from the region. If you're certainly coming from Miami like I am, it might be very challenging, but they might have a bit of a problem with it. But on the other side of the coin, there is the fact that you said everybody gets a chance to run for the trophy. Let's explain that, because there is something called grading points. Not everybody just gets into the 50th Gator Nationals. There is a process that has to be followed, and frankly, from what I understand, all of the spots were taken up by drivers who have the maximum number of grading points / we'll call them experience points, meaning you could have a really fast car. If you didn't go to a bunch of events, you couldn't run for that trophy. Explain that.
Right. Well, it's in order to qualify for a national event, you have to actually be a part of the Lucas Oil regional divisional programs. Tracks like Orlando Speed World, which is coming up next week, or Valdosta, or the Baby Gators, or, Rockingham or Galat. You have to run in those divisional programs to earn your way, to earn the opportunity to register for a national event. It's a way of making sure that the guys that are out there supporting Lucas Oil and that series have first dibs on getting on a national event. And with it being the 50th, it filled up really quick. I think stock and super stock, if you didn't have 5 grading points, I think you didn't get in right now. But granted, there's always people that drop out and other people that drop in. A lot can happen between now and the Gator Nationals. So even up until the Monday of, you'll see that lineup of drivers rotating a little bit, some new guys coming in that weren't previously registered. So, it's not like the field's set, but for the most part, it is for stock and super stock. And it didn't feel right. We know we have to have quotas on it. There is a time schedule. There's a parking schedule. There's certain restrictions on any type of event of how much you can actually fit in the bag, and the bag's full. So it just seemed better if we could actually let more people be a part of class eliminations by moving a week early. By moving it a week early, it is technically being run with the division race, with the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series at the Baby Gators. Therefore, there's no quota. So you can come down and run the division race for the Lucas Oil Division Series points. You can also run class eliminations that's part of the Gator Nationals. And then even if you're not in the Gator Nationals, you can go home. you still got to be a part of this big, basically 2-week celebration that's becoming the Gator Nationals. It's not just a 4-day event anymore. It's 2 weeks long.
Wow.
So that's the goal, is to get more people from stock and super stock there.
Wow. Okay. Now, and to me, that makes sense, and I appreciate it. There's another angle to it, and people are, well, why? Why don't they just allow more cars? NHRA, I don't know if it's a policy or it's just something that happens, but at these big milestone events, you guys bring in, NHRA brings in, all categories. Is that the way to say it? For instance, I've been personally advocating, Super Street at the Gator Nationals for the past couple of years because I happen to have a car that could potentially be Super Street. It's totally self-serving, but I love that category because they're big, real cars. Well, this year they'll be there, and it's something that seems to happen on these milestone events.
Yeah, it was. Up until this year, I believe that Super Street was the only category that's not already in the Gator Nationals.
Yes.
So we typically, we run it once per division, and we run it, in the past, we've ran it at the Southern Nationals up at Atlanta later on in the year. And, Joe, we listened to your request, and we just thought it made sense to put Super Street in the Gator Nationals. We moved it from the Southerns down to the Amalie Oil Gator Nationals this year. So, that was a factor in it. That's more cars that are going to get parked and ran during that event. So, yeah, you're adding 40 cars to the equation that weren't there last year. So, unfortunately, I'm sure that doesn't make a few guys happy in the other classes, but we had to adjust for quotas to accommodate for those 40 more parking spots. And that meant that some of the other categories went down by 5 apiece.
There you go. So I'm a hero to Super Street, and everyone else wants to kill me.
Yeah, it's all Joe's fault. So for once I could point the finger at you. It's not my fault.
There you go. That's
even
fine.
Though I'm actually the guy that's at fault.
Now, listen, I always advocate for Super Street just because I love the cars. They're big cars. They're real cars. And it is, I'll call it a moderate investment to get involved in that style of racing. And I really think that's what sets the hook. But I like it, and I'm excited to see those cars at the Gator Nationals. But what about, the fan now? We've already established that this is being done so that stock and super stock racers who believe that they have got the quickest C-stock automatic in the country, whatever it happens to be, can come to the Gator Nationals and try to win class, albeit a couple of days early. So maybe explain the schedule when those cars are going to run, and let's talk to some race fans that are in the region. If it's within an hour or two, I am driving there to go experience this because you're seeing the best of the best, period, bar none. And is this, what happens with ticketing? Can they get in with their Gator Nationals ticket? How does that work? Explain.
Yeah. We're going to let people in. If you've got a Gator Nationals ticket, we'll let you in as a spectator to watch the baby Gators because we don't want to take away that chance. And we know that there's some people that are going to be upset from the fan base that they won't be there for class eliminations. We get that. It was a worst case scenario. We felt like it was more important to try to get this done for the racers, even if that upset a few of our fans that don't get to see class eliminations. And that's just, unfortunately, we couldn't figure out a perfect solution that was good for both sides. And in this case, we wanted to put the racers' priority above the spectators and that. As bad as that sounds, I just don't have a better way of saying it. But yeah, if you come up to the Baby Gators, you show us your Gator Nationals ticket, we'll let you in. We want you to see it. Like I said, it's becoming a 2-week event. It's not really just a 1-week deal anymore. This is U.S. Nationals of the first half of the year of the East Coast, and it's the baby U.S. Nationals, not just the Baby Gators. So, because of that, we really don't know. It's a guessing game on how many super stockers are going to show up for this and take this chance to come here and get that 50th anniversary class eliminations quali. It could be a lot bigger than we expect. So we've got to plan for a large field of super stock, just in case. So what we're going to do is we're going to move Test and Tune to Wednesday instead of the normal scenario of Thursday. Test and Tune is Wednesday afternoon, 12 to 6, for all of our sportsman categories, including alcohol. Thursday, we're trying to figure out the final details of it, but we'll probably do a little deal Thursday morning from 9 to noon where a guy can come in and buy one Test and Tune hit. If he didn't get there on Wednesday, we can open up that window to let a guy get down the track one time at least on Thursday. Because with the class eliminations in the schedule, on Thursday afternoon at 12 o'clock, the Baby Gators begins. And we will do on Thursday afternoon, we'll do 2 rounds of stock qualifying, 2 rounds of super stock qualifying, and all of the .90 classes will get 1 time trial. And that will actually take up the whole day, the whole afternoon. You know, we look at the factors of the sunset, the average temperature, things like that. We want to try to be done by around 7 o'clock that night. And that way wipes out your whole Thursday. So then you roll into Friday, and Friday we start class eliminations that morning. So Friday is essentially class day at the Baby Gators. Along with that,
Friday the
all the
8th.
other categories. I'm sorry?
The 8th I just want to put a date on this so people who are maybe making plans can just like program it into their calendar. So we started this conversation, we were talking about March 6th, and then the 7th was the Thursday, and the 8th, March 8th, is class day. So continue on.
That's right. Yeah, Friday, March 8th, we start class eliminations. You know, we'll hope to go hot at 8 o'clock that morning. That always depends on the weather. But that's the goal. 8 a.m. we'll start. We'll get the .90 classes. We'll get another time trial on Friday. So that'll be their second one of the week. Stock and super stock run their complete class eliminations. There'll be 3 sessions. This is more than normal. We'll do 3 sessions of top alcohol qualifying on Friday. Normally we do 2, but we decided this year, especially with the test and tune moving a day earlier, that might be tougher for some of the top alcohol teams to get there for test and tune. So we will do 3 qualifiers on Friday for top alcohol dragster and top alcohol funny car. You also got top sportsman, top dragster, and comp. That's Hickory and Close top dragster, Stotts Ford top sportsman, and comp. They will have 2 of their qualifying sessions on Friday also. So by the end of the day on Friday, class eliminations is complete, top alcohol qualifying is complete, and all the other sportsman categories have had 2 hits already. So now you're rolling into Saturday morning, March 9th. Now we're getting our juniors are starting to arrive, so we'll start junior time trial Saturday morning, and we'll get that 3rd qualifying session or time trial for the categories that haven't had it on Saturday morning. So that's the goal, is that when we start when we start regular eliminations, every class will have 3 runs down that track in time trials or qualifying. Because on Saturday afternoon, hopefully, well, actually by 11, we're hoping we can start eliminations of top alcohol. And then after that, we'll go into the Hickory and Close and Stotts Ford and comp. So Saturday, by the end of the day, we have hopefully completed all eliminations for top alcohol, and we've ran 1 round of eliminations for all the other remaining categories. And that gets us down to where it's a nice manageable day on Sunday where we complete our eliminations. And, you know, we hope Sunday we're done by about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're in the winner's circle giving out Wally trophies.
Wow. Tremendous, tremendous. And then,
yeah.
Go ahead.
It's really, if you look at the show schedule, which I'm trying to get it posted, just, you know, we keep getting backlogged with little cost. It just seems like we never have enough time, but we're trying to get the schedule posted on the Division II website and Facebook here in the next day or 2 for the first 3 events. But if you look at that Baby Gator schedule, every day is really jam-packed from a fan standpoint. It's really a quality event to come to.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Well, the class day is pretty spectacular. I'm going to hit you with another question in a second. But then, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, people might be wondering, well, what happens? Like, the rigs are gonna be there, and the racers it's up to them. And then all of a sudden, Thursday the 14th, the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals that we have expanded beyond now begins with Hardcore Thursday, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we go into the traditional Gator National schedule, and honestly, I haven't looked at it in detail yet to see what how we've adjusted the schedule because of the fact that we don't have class eliminations on Thursday, Friday at the Gator Nationals. But trust me, it's still jam packed full of activity on those days. And we try to buy ourselves a little cushion when you can. Yeah, it's March. It's Florida, but it's still March. So we will try to buy ourselves a little bit of cushion so we've got some leeway in there because the day always gets a little bit longer than what we have scheduled in our perfect world schedule. So we know that. So, it's most of the guys stay here between the events, the sportsman racers. They go out and enjoy some of the sites. They can go down to Ocala, go to Gartless Museum. There's a big car show going on over in Jacksonville, not far from the track that week. There's a great nature preserve 3 miles up the street from the track. That's pretty fascinating if you haven't been there. It's like a little mini zoo out in the middle of the country out here just north of the racetrack. So there's plenty of things for people to do around here that are staying that week or those few days in between the babies and the majors. And, for those that need to get home to the real job for a few days so they can come back, that's the idea of the Baby Gator schedules, that we focus very much on trying to get our racers home at a decent time on Sunday so their boss isn't mad at them on Monday morning for being there late and being tired.
There you go. And that's something that, I don't know, like 5 years ago, the folks at NHRA really prioritized those kind of things. He's running some double events depending on where you are, piggybacking to national events. So the racers only have to drive to a region, one time. Maybe I don't want to say unappreciated or lost in the conversation, but this happened a couple of years back on purpose to make things easier for racers.
Well, yeah, I mean, the travel cost and the travel time is a big part of the hurdle that a lot of our sportsman racers face. We get that. It's not their professional full-time job. There's a handful of great ones out there like Rampy that this is their full-time gig. And he's done a fantastic job of it. He's one of ours. We're pretty proud of it. But for the majority of our guys, we know they've got to get home. We know the expenses are high for travel. Thankfully, fuel isn't quite what it was a few years ago. But that kind of made changing the formats around a little bit, where some of our division races we do as a 2-day format instead of a 3-day format. We put some doubles in some areas where it just made sense to do it. We try not to oversaturate the schedule with doubles, because there's only so many events that we want to do, and we want to make sure that we actually spread them out to all those great member tracks we have around the country. So, yeah, in fact, in our case, in Division 2, we don't have any doubles this year, except for at the end of the year when we go to Rockingham, where we finish our season with the National Open, the Lucas Oil Series, and on top of that, you have the Moser Sportsman Shootout together. So that's the only one we have in our division this year that's kind of like a jam-packed multiple event weekend all in one ticket. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of positive feedback from our racers down here on the 2-day format. It's made it a little bit tougher for some of the guys when we're going into round one on Saturday morning, and they were used to the old days where they could come in Saturday morning and get a last qualifier. We get that. We know it's not perfect, but for the majority of our racers, it just seemed like that was a better way to serve their needs to get them home to their regular job in their life.
Got it. No, listen, I have heard positive feedback about it, and I feel like it's an ever-evolving thing. If things, change, and you get some better feedback, a better way to do it, I think you'll do it. All right, here's one for you. I have not prepared you for this question, and maybe you have an answer, maybe you don't. Whatever that is, it's okay with me. But we're talking about Friday, March 8th, Class Day from the Baby Gators, as in Class Eliminations for the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. For the, one moment, please. For the race fan who is in Arizona, California, Oklahoma, Seattle, Washington, who wants to sidle up to his computer and watch this happen, will there be any way to see Class Eliminations? I know there's many streaming products over the years at certain events, sometimes depending on various factors that I sometimes understand and sometimes don't. Is that something that may or may not happen?
Well, I almost sound like a game show announcer right now. I'm like, well, yes, Joe, there is. We actually.
Well, wait a second, Rich. I want everybody to know that, listen, Rich came on last second, agreed to come on WFO Radio to explain this because, a lot of people want to know. And I don't give him the questions I'm going to ask. We're having a conversation. So I just nailed him with something that the answer could have been, no, Joe, there's not. And so I wanted to preface it that way. Go ahead.
Yeah, we thanks to Mike and Emily Volkman, two of our great sportsman racers down here. They stepped up. They talked to Warren Evans about what he's been doing with Division 3 with the sportsman television coverage he's doing for a lot of these NHRA events. And thanks to Service Department Solutions, we will have live streaming of the, let's see here, currently we're going to do the Valdosta event, which is our second event of the year down here. We will do the Baby Gators, and then a little bit later we'll do Atlanta at the Lucas Oil race up there. So the three of the first four division races in Division 2 will be live streamed. There was a scheduling conflict. We couldn't make Orlando work. But for sure on the Baby Gators, Warren and his crew will be there. In fact, I was just told the other day that the guest director of the television program, helping behind the scenes, will be none other than legendary Jay Hollinger. on the property to help with the live streaming. Yeah, it's going to be a big party. Jay's coming down.
Love Jay. One of my faves.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. WFO listener back to the satellite days, Jay Hollinger.
Yeah. He's he's the legend.
He is. Okay,
he
so
was,
go ahead.
For better or worse, one of my mentors.
Well, for better and for worse. We all know Jay, but I'd choose him if I could. So there will be a live stream of Class Eliminations from the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals, which to me, that is huge, the right decision, mandatory, great stuff. So anybody that is like concerned, well, I'm flying into the Gatornationals on Hardcore Thursday to see Class Eliminations. Now I'm not going to be able to see it. The answer is no, you will be able to see it. You'll have to watch the live stream on the mobile device, but it's not like you're going to miss it, which to me, that has the potential to set records for Warren's live stream.
Yeah, well, last year was the first year we did a live stream for one of the Division II events, and Warren said he had record numbers for the Baby Gators last year. So I would expect with Class, it's gonna be even bigger. It's gonna be a big weekend. It's really gonna be a lot of fun. We're actually hot and heavy working on stuff already. It feels like it's right around the corner. And you've heard that we've poured a new surface. We're working on that right now.
Yes,
concrete's poured. Got some polishing to do, got some grinding to do, put some rubber down on it, and it'll be ready.
We had Ned Walliser on the show a week ago, and we're really beating the drum on this story. 50 straight or 50 Gatornationals, 40 straight for me. I'm super excited. Ned got me fired up about the surface. You've been out there, or maybe you haven't, but what do you know? Is it super smooth? Are we going to have something that can bring this track back to its record-setting heritage?
Well, yeah, I mean, they did a quality job on it. I was really impressed with the work that the concrete company did on it. We had, it seemed like everybody and their brother that's worked with us in the past has been involved in this project. Ned was there, Wayne McMurtry was there, Mike Yerk is the guy here at the track that leads up the charge. Had some quality people involved, and they actually, some of the contractors we work with actually traveled to quite a few of the national events last year and looked at what we were doing right, what we were doing wrong, and looked at some of the new surfaces out there. So what they've done here is going to be really fast. We've got, obviously, like any time you pour concrete, there's still some work to do. We still got some grinding, some polishing coming up this week and next week on it to get it to where we want it. But by far, completely different world from where we were a year ago with this track. I mean, great track, but it had some age. It was a little haggard and it needed some love, and thankfully, the mothership stepped up and let us spend the money to do it right.
Super exciting. Rich, I want to thank you for, coming on, laying it all out. If you're a sportsman racer out there, and I didn't ask the question that's burning up your brain, I apologize. But I feel like we did spin the hits and cover all the vital information for fans out there. To recap, if you got a ticket for the Gatornationals, you want to see this, they're letting you in. There will be a live stream. And to me, that covers everything that fans are concerned about. Now, here's one for you. I got two more for you. Ready? Okay, one, let me
Sure.
get you with David Rampy, obviously. He's a Division II guy, Southeastern Division. To me, one of the greats of all time, not just in numbers, but in character. And he got to 100 wins, and I just wanted to give you the opportunity. You referenced various racers a couple of times, and, Rampy keeps coming up because of his greatness. He probably would hate to hear us talk about him like that, because that's not his thing, but it is what it is. David Rampy, how great is this guy?
Yeah, and it's not to say anything away from Dave. He is the GOAT of comp. And but part of that is the people he actually runs against week in and week out, all over the country, and especially including Division II. I remember an old Polar friend of mine in truck and tractor pulling, Ken Lamont, was doing an interview once, and we're in Phoenix, Arizona, and he told people, says, I'm at the top of my game right now, and the reason I'm at the top of my game is because I run with the best people every single week out here on this tour. And Rampy's kind of one of those guys. He was great without any help. But when he's going up against guys like Kimbrough and Puckett and Treadwell, all these people from Division II kind of push him to the front. They push him to be as good as he is. And he surrounds himself with good people like Barry. So it's kind of nice for me that, you don't want to show favoritism towards anybody in my position. But when guys like Rampy succeed, I feel like it's a win for the whole division and everybody down here. He's one of our guys. This division, I'm sure every division is like this. You cheer for your own. And, we cheer for the Rampies. We cheer for the Millikins. We cheer for the Blake Alexanders and the Lyons and all these people that are from Division II. When they win, it feels like everybody down here won. So it was a big moment for everybody. And you could see it this year at our banquet that just happened a couple weeks ago when when Rampy came up on stage and the room gave him a standing ovation. It wasn't prompt. It wasn't prompted by anything we said or did. It was just prompted by the crowd themselves. And that's the kind of love these guys have for him down here. I mean, we're proud of the guy. It's great to see him get to that benchmark. My only concern is that now he starts to back off. Yeah, I want him to keep pushing. He's got to keep passing a few more of those guys on that all-time win list before he's done.
I don't want him to ever be done. Sorry, David. You got to keep going. But I don't want
going. That's right.
No, and people, it's not for the fans out there. Again, I always assume that many of our fans are, they love John Force, and so they checked out the podcast, right? But the layers of drag racing are they go deep, and maybe we didn't get to learn a whole lot about David Rampy's personality on television because he's doing winter interviews all the time. But the guy is just like a first-class, competitor and person, and to achieve 100 national event wins is just awesome. All right, final question for Rich Schaefer from NHRA Division II, Southeastern Division. You referenced the Legends race, unfinished business. NHRA has just announced, and so we can announce now, the fifth of the racers, Big Daddy Don Garlitz, who is basically, a neighbor of the track, an hour south, Joe Amato, Shirley Muldowney, Terry Vance, Ed McCullough is the newest announcement. Ed the Ace. Hopefully there won't be any fist fights, but if there is, my money's on Ed. How are you going to keep these guys from cheating? That's my question. Like, what are the rules of this? You have to manage. Is this their last race of substance ever for these guys? Are they going to take it extremely seriously, guys and gals? I think that they are, Rich. I think that they're going to be inflating tires and icing manifolds and doing whatever they can possibly do. And I love the idea of it. Give me your impression of this unfinished business race. There are 3 racers yet to be named. I kind of have a good idea based on their silhouette, but we'll let that play out. Give me your thoughts on this event.
For $20, I'll text you and let you know who the other 3 are.
Okay.
No, that shouldn't cost more than $20 because I'd probably lose my job. No, I think if there was a case where you could use the lines like rubbing is racing, this is it. Let them go at it. I don't care if they're trying to flatten the other guy's tires in the staging lane. I think this is it. I mean, this is like SummerSlam. This is WrestleMania. This is like the knockdown, drag out fight. This is fun. Some of these guys have never raced each other in their career, and that's why it's unfinished business. They finally get to go head to head against some of the people that they've never actually been on track against. So it's cool. To me, it's a nice mix when you look in the pits at the Gatornationals, and you're going to see these young up and comers out there racing the sportsman ranks, the T.J. Tyndalls of the world, the Scott Gibsons, people like that from Division II. And you look at them and realize that someday those could be the next Ed McCulloughs and Terry Vances and Don Garlitz. And that's one of the beautiful things about our sport is that we have events like the 50th anniversary where the fans get to see all of that. They get to see the young, the old, the middle, all of it in one place. You're rubbing elbows with the legends of yesterday, one more time on this track here for the Gatornationals. So you might be rubbing elbows with the next one too, and you don't even know it yet. So to watch these guys, hopefully even all of our sportsman racers are lining the fence to watch these guys go at it for unfinished business. I think it's going to be fun. My wife used to work for WWF. So I'm going to give these guys a few tips that Natalie taught me over the years that they might want to try on each other to get the advantage.
There you go. I like that. Mental, physical, and otherwise. And just looking at, I find it impossible that any of these people are going to go in this taking it lightly. Like, it's just a Legends race. Like, I don't see any one of these people, like, taking this easy. I think they're all going to bring some sort of intensity to it, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Rich, great job. Thank you so much for getting us up to speed. All you sportsman racers, Lucas Oil Series racers, fans around the country, now you know what's going to go down, how it's going to go down, how you're going to see it, how you're going to watch it. Of course, we want you at both events and would love to see you at the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. And, of course, it's not too late to get tickets, but I would do it soon. Right, Rich? They should probably do that soon.
Ticket sales are flying off the shelf right now. So, yeah, if you want your Top Eliminator Club tickets, you better get them soon because there's not many left, which is good news for me.
Yes. Well, this is a premier event. I'm sure you're going to be under a lot of stress over the course of the weekend. That's why we got to you a little bit early. And, yeah, you mentioned the Southeastern Division schedule begins on February 1st. Correct? Orlando Speed World, one of the tracks that we brought back into the NHRA circle several years back. Also one of the tracks that I have won at in my bracket racing days. I'm very proud of that. And very excited. We're getting started in February. And if you're out there in like Wyoming and you're like wondering, well, how is that possible? Because Florida. One of the positive things.
Because Florida.
Because Florida. Hashtag because Florida. Rich, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Joe.
Good talking to you, Rich. Rich Schaefer, DD, Division 2, with us here on WFO Radio. And yes, it is so true that the division directors root for their guys. And, they're all great people. And wherever the national event is, the division director's got a lot of responsibilities and runs the show. It's kind of a very neat and interesting system, the division system that the NHRA has. And as I have now spent several years part of the team that travels around with the Mellow Yellow Series, I get to see them work. And I'm a Division 2 guy, though. NHRA Southeastern Division. Years ago, Miami Hollywood Speedway. This past year, Darrell Gwynn inducted me into the Hall of Fame, which is still blowing my mind. It's like, wow, that was an NHRA Division 2 track. And then Moroso Motorsports Park, which is now no longer with the sanction, which is just very sad to me. But I get it. Maybe someday in the future it'll be back, but who knows? But I always considered myself an NHRA Division 2 guy. My competition number starts with a 2. And as much as, I love everybody. When JEGS All-Stars time comes, who am I rooting for? Well, I'm rooting for everybody to be successful, but when push comes to shove, Division 2. And last year I talked a little smack, and it didn't work. But this year, maybe we'll get back going again. Thanks to Rich. Hopefully, if you are a Lucas Oil Series racer, stock, super stock, whatever the class, you now have the information you were looking for. And even if you're not, you now know you'll be stuck to your computer watching a live stream, thanks to Warren Evans, who has helped me out a little bit, giving me some advice on WFO and some of the stuff we're going to be doing in the future. Thank you, Warren. But I think it is great. I think we extracted a lot of information, got to talk about Rambo, all kinds of cool stuff. Thanks to Rich for coming on the show. And I really think that in the grand scheme of people who are knowledgeable about drag racing, right? We got, Alan Reinhart and Kevin McKenna and Brian Lones and Brett Kepner and, this whole Phil Burgess. I don't want to leave anybody out. I feel like I've started a bad cycle here naming names. Geez, these are just the people that come to the top of my mind. That all having been said, these division directors, they know their divisions very well. And the history and the Hall of Fames and the people who are, it's a different relationship. It's not like, I don't want to say like, celebrities on this big scene. It's more, granular, grassroots, customers coming to a business to patronize the business. And I know a lot goes into making sure the racers are happy. And I know there's racers out there going, they're not doing a good enough job. And I get it. Everybody's got to get better, right? But I feel like that process has been going pretty well now. I'm going to say, let's call it 6 to 7 years, right? Since, since I arrived. Let's just say that, okay? Since I started coming to the NHRA, they really changed a bunch of stuff. Too much, I know. Too much. Okay, if anyone in Glendora is listening, I believe it. All right, let's move on. My time coming up next, but right now I wanted to tell you about samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience, whether in the lab on the dyno or at the track. In addition to blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport EFI tuning. Think about how important that is out there. Plus an Associate of Applied Science degree. They're military-friendly. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. You got to go to samtech.edu. Got to tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. You got to find out what's best for you. I can't help but always mention CNC machining and all the different great careers that you could get started in aerospace. There are so many things going on out there where an education at samtech.edu can get you started on. You don't necessarily have to want to become the next pro stock engine builder. Maybe you do. But it's not about that. It's about working on cars, touching and experiencing the curriculum, which are drag race cars and many things like that. Plus, they've got great connections with potential future employers. Go to samtech.edu to find out the full bill and tell them you heard about it on WFO. We will be back after this final segment to wrap it all up and tie it all together.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me.
Why do you listen?
WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Hangstefers, metalworking lubricants. The folks at Hangstefers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series of sportsman racers in the Racing RV's Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstefers is to increase the productivity in the shop. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstefers.com to find out more information. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstefers, metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego is gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Whether you're a bracket racer who wants to get better or a thrill seeker looking to cross it off your bucket list, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School can put you on the right track. Don't believe me? Tell him, Frank.
No matter how little or how much experience you have, we've got a program for you. So if driving a dragster is on your bucket list, there's no better time than now. And if you'd like to be a pro, well, here's funny car champ, Jack Beckman.
Hey, this is Jack Beckman. Long before I was Fast Jack, I was a bracket racer who went to the Frank Hawley School. The time I spent there was some of the most exciting, intense, and fulfilling moments ever in a race car. I feel the curriculum Frank developed greatly helped me win not only the Super Comp, but also the NHRA Nitro Funny Car Championship. Frank put me on the right track. What are you waiting for?
Call them at 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. Or visit frankhawley.com.
This is Sean from Traverse City, Michigan. You ever get done with an episode of Ignition or Nitro and say, man, that's a good job. I'd like to give them a pat on the back and a cold beer. Well, with Patreon, you can. So send that drink down to Gio and Joe.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Final segment, NHRA Nitro podcast. Joe Castello with you. And what a show, fun show. Jordan Vandergriff, Alan Reinhart from Qatar, Rich Schaefer answering questions, and I know where I'll be. And you know what, like the Baby Gators, it's an event that, I would love to go to, but you got to understand from down in South Florida, not like you care, right? Down in South Florida, it's about a 5-hour drive to get to Gainesville, Florida. And if I'm going up on Wednesday, I don't know. Me and my dad, man. That's the number one thing. 40th, Gatornationals, me and my father. That's what I'm focused on this year. And after that, who knows? Maybe the next coming years. Baby Gators, something I'll hit. What the real deal is I want to race the darn thing. Real deal. I got a car that could run Super Street in my garage, and I'm like slowly but surely sorting out all my issues. And, there's a lot of stuff happening. Like right now, I got a little bit of a rear main seal leak, and I'm chasing some things in the torque converter area. And, going out there and seeing, oil on the garage floor is terrible, which is why I want to talk to you about Magic Dry, a 100% organic multi-purpose absorbent. All right, I'm kidding in that the transition is just too perfect. But CatSpotLitter.com and Magic Dry have really jumped into the sport of NHRA drag racing in a big way. We started off our 2019 season with Scott Palmer. That interview is in our archive. Yes, we're doing the short clips again, where you can go back and you get the repost of the interviews. It's pretty cool. And I'm really thrilled that Magic Dry is going to be the title sponsor of the Arizona race, and CatSpotLitter.com is going to be the title sponsor of our Pacific Raceway Seattle race up there in the Northwest Nationals. what they have in common is they're both made of coconut. They're both organic. They're both biodegradable and easy to dispose of. The difference is one you put in the cat litter box and the other you use, really it's more of an industrial absorbent for large industrial spills. But you could use it at home as well. They're giving away samples at the racetrack, and everybody is like opening their eyes like, wow, this stuff works. Wow, this stuff works. So go to catspotlitter.com, check it out, and know that Scott Palmer is on the racetrack because you're getting your cat spot litter or because you're using Magic Dry. And if you've got a spill and you see what it is and you're thinking, man, I need to absorb that, what am I going to use? What are you going to use? And maybe you're going to use the same thing. Make it a catspotlitter.com product. Maybe make it Magic Dry. Bottom line is you're helping out WFO as well. Thrilled that they are seeing such a great reaction from the sport of NHRA drag racing, and thrilled that they are supporting Scott Palmer and the catspotlitter.com team and everybody associated, including WFO Radio. Go to catspotlitter.com to find out more information. All right. It is now the final segment. I threw in a little nugget about my own racing experience. I was telling the Patreons today about my racing experience, as in I flashed the torque converter on my 78 Pontiac Trans Am, and it went to like 4,900 RPMs. And then I got some response from our Patreons who were, the Patreon is a totally different thread. And it's for behind-the-scenes people who want to directly support the show. You hear the show, and you want to support it, and you sign up and basically subscribe and kick us a couple of bucks, and we give you specialized content. So I was talking to the Patreons. And Jeff White of Jeff and Jennifer White, Top Dragster Team, formerly the Spider Bite, now White Noise, gave me some thoughts and points. And I was wondering why the car, which typically ran 1020s at 130.5, up to 132 miles per hour, depending on the day and the weather, had slowed down to like 1050s at 130.5. What was going on? And there's a new but old torque converter in there. I think I've told this story before, certainly on Ignition, which is a little more me-focused and less guest-focused. But bottom line, he's like, hey, make sure, though, that, when the converter goes bad, there could be needle bearings everywhere and all of these things. And he gave me a whole list of things to discuss. And I am going to do it. But when I flashed the torque converter, it went to 4,900 RPMs. It's supposed to be a 5,500 stall converter. The converter was relatively new. And there's a whole long story. But what I'm thinking is you got to play detective here a little bit, right? We are narrowing down. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And it's not any of those things. And so now I've got a torque converter sitting in the garage that is what we would call old reliable. It has worked well and not broken. 5,500 stall has gone quick and fast many times, many round wins. We're going to put that thing in there and get back after it. So I'm excited about that. When? When is this going to happen? When? I don't know. Just as soon as possible. I would love to have that thing, have a good ET under my belt prior to the Gatornationals. That would be really, really nice. Some other things, we mentioned some of our partners on WFO Radio. For instance, Drag Racing Edge magazine has been so kind, Johnny D and the team over there, to put some ads in there, alerting their audience to the presence of this podcast. Simple as that. Hey, people who like drag racing, you can hear from the stars and newsmakers right out of their mouth by listening and subscribing to this podcast. Thank you to Drag Racing Edge. But one of the first people to step up and support WFO Radio is CompetitionPlus.com, Bobby Bennett. And we've got great relationships, I'm proud to say, with, who I probably should list the people that I don't have a great relationship with, except I don't know who they are. I try really hard to get along very well with everybody, considering we're all having a good time at our mutual passion. I'm a big believer in, minimal negativity, certainly in this world that we're in. And so scanning CompetitionPlus.com, kind of an interesting story to ponder, and you can go and check them out. This is like real reporting. NHRA spokesperson confirmed on Friday, so this is from a couple of days ago, prior to the weekend, since the last time we spoke, that the sanctioning body is planning to go in a different direction with its chief starter personnel. As of now, it appears Mike Giddings, who is a fourth full-time career starter behind Buster Coutrick, Stewart, and Mark Lyle, may he rest in peace, could be the final one. Now, Mike Giddings, to me, how many times did you hear Mike Giddings' name last year? I don't think very many. And considering the tragic circumstances that took Mark Lyle away from us, Mark, who was, friends with everybody out there, but he was like a positive, energy. And I still remember, I remember the last time I saw him, very sad. Gatornationals, I'll have plenty of time to talk to him. Nope. Sad. But I digress. Mike Giddings is also a positive energy, and I like him greatly. But according to reporting from CompetitionPlus.com, NHRA spokesperson Jessica Hatcher, which is NHRA is going in a new direction regarding the structure of the role of the starter position. It says Jessica Hatch, NHRA spokesperson, in a prepared statement delivered to CompetitionPlus.com. I don't know Jessica Hatch. I know Jessica Hatcher. So, I don't know. Sources with knowledge of the situation confirmed to Competition Plus that the NHRA plans to employ regional and divisional starters for 2019. Interesting. What remains to be seen is how the move will affect such challenging assignments as four-wide competition. Both roles Giddings were intricately involved with. Two-time series champion Matt Hagan says racers will adjust. And, of course, everybody adapts to everything, whether it is a rule change or anything that happens within our division, says Hagan. The only thing that would have been nice is to know that there's the same guy up there every time so you can go talk to who is making those decisions to turn you off or shut you down or whatever it may be. Track prep and all the other stuff, etc. In this area, consistency is key. At the end of the day, we will have to adapt. NHRA also distributed a letter to the fuel teams on Friday, January 18th last week, indicating there will now be qualifying money paid to the number 19 and 20 qualifiers. Woo! The year-end prize money will also be increased by $51,000, with finishers 4 through 10 getting the raise. All right, so that great story, Bobby Bennett. You can go on there. Also, I did receive a sneak preview of Legends the Series Shirley Muldowney. I highly recommend you watch it. I think it's going to be the best one ever. Shirley doesn't pull punches ever, and this is a forum for her. And the 1 minute that I saw, I fell in love with. And so, this is one of Bobby's passions, and he is out there. He loves the sport as much as anybody else and more than most. And so he's doing a good thing. Get on there and check it out. Let me talk about the additional prize money, which I think is a good thing. I think it is, a good thing. And so watching some of the social media traffic about the additional prize money, it makes me want to caution everyone. Not that anybody cares what I have to say, because they certainly don't. When you're on the Facebook, it's tempting to think that you're in a private conversation. But you're not. You're not. Right? You're not. Everybody is coming and reading and checking out and seeing. And so I'm shuffling around and shuffling through, swiping through my pages. And people know that on my personal page, I've posted some things like, hey, wouldn't it be great if everybody could get along? And people are like, no, getting along is terrible. But I digress. My hot read on the response to the additional prize money was that it was received negatively. Because the conversation immediately turned to, well, what if there's not a 19th and 20th qualifier? Who gets the money? Where's the money going? Right? It was like, whoa, well, yeah, I guess that kind of seems like a negative. Where's the money coming from? It was really... It just appeared negative. I apologize for my reading of it in a real negative way, but I have learned over the years to determine positive from negative, and this came across as negative. Now, where was this that I read? I have no idea. Was it in a group? Was it in a page? But I can tell you that the people that were commenting were, well-known stars of the sport. Yeah, we'll see where this money goes. And it just made me think, wow. That's tough stuff. Everybody's always talking about how we need to expand the fields. We need more cars out there. So the qualifier number 19 and 20 is going to get some more money, whatever it is. This will be some more money to those people. And I think, incidentally, this might deserve its own little story. Why bury it inside the starter story? But there's going to be more money for qualifiers 19 and 20, and prize money is increased by $51,000. All right, is it $510,000 increase? No, that would have been better. Yeah, $500,000 more would have been better than $51,000, but still it's an increase, and that's kind of cool. Number 19 and 20 going to get a little more money. What does this do? Well, I think everybody has coalesced around the concept that 20 cars is a really good number. I know many of you are like, well, back in the day, there was 30 cars. And I'm going to tell you why I think people have coalesced around 20 as the number after I tell you about our friends at HusseyPerformance.net. Copper head gaskets, quality, best in the business. They've been doing it for over 40 years. They know where and how to buy copper. Any size, any bore, any thickness. For all those tuning decisions and the perfect weather conditions. Hussey Performance, supporter of WFO Radio. Been with us for an entire year. Met David Allen and the team out there at the Gatornationals a year ago. And if you call him, you will get him because it's his cell phone number. Yeah, give him my cell phone number. Really, David? That seems crazy. 724-318-8292. HusseyPerformance.net. Most accurate on the market. On the champion Sean Bellemure's Top Alcohol Funny Car. They won the title, the Bartone brothers. Do you need any more information? If you are an engine builder who listens to WFO Radio, and we had one, a tractor pull guy, listens to the show. You, sir, know who I'm talking about. Called David, said, I've been hearing this guy barking your name for a while. I need some gaskets. I'm going to get the gaskets for my tractor pull stuff. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for using our sponsors. They're good people. I wouldn't support people that are not good people, but also they make a great product as indicated by the results they've had. Go to HusseyPerformance.net. Whatever you need, they can get it done. They can custom make it. 724-318-8292. David Allen and the team. And oh, by the way, everything made in America. That is important to me. Everything made in America. The idea that 20 cars is the magic number. We want to have a race within a race. And, you know, Pro Modified is a perfect example. They've got like 30 cars, 35 cars. And everyone's like, yeah, 35 cars. How many of those cars, though, can really jump up into the top half and qualify at any time? The answer is, 25. Like, now it's getting to the point where the field is being separated. And while you have a lot of people that want to be involved and they've got a pro mod, the cream is rising now that there's this world championship and E3 spark plugs are involved, just like with everything else. You don't need 35 cars. I was at the Gatornationals. I feel like it was 1986. 53 Pro Stocks, something like that. Pro Stock qualifying took 2.5 hours, some crazy number. I remember we had enough time to walk from the pit side all the way around the back of the tower, watch a bunch of runs from the spectator side around 8th mile, walk all the way back during Pro Stock qualifying. And it was great, Pro Stockers. So many of them had no chance. They were there, they were cool cars, they were not fast enough to qualify. In the end, it was 16 cars. So you want to have more than 16 cars. You want to have a race within a race. But what's the magic number? Is it 29? No, it's not 29. That might be a problem for the show. Things need to move. And so a lot of people have discussed 20, 22. That's enough to have a race within a race to qualify and still have the space. Rich Schaefer was talking about limited space on the property. Everyone's going to come in with a rig and a hospitality, and man, we don't have the real estate. The real estate doesn't exist. So NHRA is working, and this is, by the way, I'm not speaking in any kind of official capacity. This is WFO. They're going to provide money for number 19 and 20. Well, what if there is no 19 and 20? Well, someone is going to create number 19 and 20. We are putting the money out there. They are putting the money out there so that the guy that is like, man, do I want to do this? I don't know if I'm even going to be able to qualify. I don't even have the money. It's so expensive. No, there's money for 19 and 20. You're not going to walk away with nothing. They're going to give you something for the effort. Do it. Try. They're trying to expand and grow the field. I think that's admirable. I think it's admirable. I think it's what we need. You want to expand. Now, there was discussion, money last year coming from Pro Stock, and, that's a different deal. And I would need more information to make a lot of educated comments about that. On the very narrow discussion of is more money for qualifier number 19 and 20 a good idea? I think the answer is yes. Another story on Comp Plus which I think is kind of interesting. Jim Maroney, who had a big victory. I believe it was out there in Denver. I got to speak with him after a huge victory. He was super happy, or maybe it was just qualifying. Was running with Terry Haddock. Earned a round win against Brittany Force at Denver. Yes, memory is intact. Is going to be on board once again. And that is cool. Like, he is going to partner with Texas drag boat racer Kim Davidson. And that's another deal. The Diesel Tech Services dragster. Another situation, and there's certainly people who know more about it than me, but, Alan Reinhart, Scott Palmer, Sean Reed, there's Kevin Kinsley. So many people coming from the drag boat universe. They know about Nitro. They know about, mechanics, parts, pieces, getting power to some substance, not necessarily the ground, to the water. But they want to keep doing what they're doing. But they're realizing that NHRA drag racing is like on the upswing and growing. So they're getting involved and getting money for 19 and 20. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And I think it's a good thing. There it is. Narrow point. Narrow point on that. Real quick, I want to tell you about audible.com/WFO Nitro. All kinds of listening, content, things for you to enjoy. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Start your 30-day free trial. Check it out, whether it be, listen, we're talking audiobooks here, right? You're over the road. You've listened to all the latest WFO radio content. You've exhausted the archive. You've gone back and you've listened to Ned Walliser and Rich Schaefer and Scott Palmer and Jordan Vandergriff over and over again. You've gone back and listened to all the winners from 2018 so you could be up to speed. You listen to Steve Torrance every single time he came on WFO radio, and you've reveled in his perfection from 2018, and now you're willing to find something else. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Use our promo code, and that way we will get the credit. Yes, we will get the credit. And that's going to do it. I feel like this was a great show. I enjoyed it. Jordan Vandergriff, I say fresh young face. Good kid. Good kid. And, Bob Vandergriff, I know he is a bit of a controversial character here and there. But isn't that exactly what we need? And you hear a kid talking about his uncle, I can't help think about my little nephew, and how he would be talking about me 20 years into the future. Yeah, my uncle is not nearly as successful as Bob Vandergriff. So it'll be disappointing, but I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. I encourage you to subscribe to this WFO radio podcast. You can find us. We have a beautiful website, designed and built by bigfishtools.com, that houses our archive, that gets you to our mobile applications, that gets you to all of our sponsors, that connects you to everything that we have done, and you can go to WFOradio.com. The mobile application has been fantastic. The folks at AppBurst created it for us. I do believe and stand by that we had the first mobile application by and large in all of NHRA drag racing. We were promoting a mobile application before NHRA. We were doing a great job, and it has been improved and optimized in the 2018 season. You will love it. Enable push notifications. Enable them. That way I can communicate directly to you. Like, hey, call the show on the Ignition Show. And finally, the Ignition Show. This is a totally different program. It is more entertainment-based. And we have devout listeners. They enjoy, they think it's fun and funny. It's not a magazine show. It's not, hard education for drag racing fans. It's more, casual talk and entertainment, much like your, local radio morning zoo may come up with, but much better than that. That's just the best analogy I can come up with. I'll give you an example of something we'll be talking about. Picks are being made for all these NFL games. And don't tell me you didn't watch those championship games. Remember the NFL? Nobody watches it anymore? Yeah, right. 2 overtime games that were barn burners right down to the final seconds. But if you are if you're down in the bayou, like my man Bobby Graham and all those, Houdat fans of the New Orleans Saints, you guys are angry. And I can understand. Not really, because I've never had the opportunity to have a championship game robbed away from me by a bad call, because I am a Miami Dolphin fan and we haven't been there for a long time. But then again, we do have a perfect season. But that's a different story. It really should be Drew Brees versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That was a egregious error. But what do you do, right? Like, what do you do about that? And that's something that we're going to kick around. And, we're going to inflame the outrage on the Ignition Show later on in the week. I encourage you to listen to it. You will have fun. It's not going to be the worst thing ever. The other side, Tom Brady. I tweeted out, he's alien technology. But it's not Tom Brady. It's a combination of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They're just better. It's he's the Austin Coyle, John Force combination. Like every once in a while, there's just a combination of brain power that overwhelms the competition. It wasn't that long ago where this season, and if you don't follow this stuff, you don't need to follow it to know that they were talking about how Tom Brady had lost his step, and Tom Brady wasn't the Tom Brady of the past, and Tom Brady wasn't that good, and Tom Brady, it's beginning to be the beginning of the end, and Tom Brady, Bill Belichick wanted to get rid of him for Jimmy G, and all of these things, and guess what? The guy's in the Super Bowl again, man. And he's like 5-3 in the Super Bowl or something crazy like that, been in 8 straight championship games. Believe me, as a New York Yankee fan, and one of the, certainly maybe not the leader of, but definitely an officer in NHRA fans that are also Yankee fans, fan club. Dom Lagana is in there, Holly McGahey is in there, Chris McGahey. Like, we got a lot of people that are Yankee fans. Do I really want to see the city of Boston win the World Series and the Super Bowl within 5 months of each other? Do I really want to see? Is that really what I want to see? Well, no. But it has nothing to do with what I want. It has to do with the quality of the people involved doing this deal, man. And what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have been able to do is unreal. And they went out there and you said, they're just going to march down the field and they're going to score. And they did. And that's it. And they marched down the field and they scored. Just like, back in the day that Austin Coyle and John Force were going to just go out there and take it to the competition. Just like you knew that Tony Schumacher and Alan Johnson were going to win the race and set the record and win the championship. Did you? Some people did. Just like you knew that Steve Torrence was going to enter the countdown and be perfect all the way through and win the final race. They did it. So they deserve the credit. And now the Super Bowl, and it is the Los Angeles Rams, poor St. Louis folks, and the Tom Brady Belichicks, the Bees, from Boston. Belichick, Brady, Boston. And then it will be racing season. See? Always bring it back. Don't forget, click subscribe. We'll see you next time. WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.